Very good to have you with us at this hour. I'm Daniel Che, here to provide you with the latest. Well, if you're a part of the Lunar New Year holiday exodus and still out there on the roads, we hope you can find your inner peace or center or your happy place, because you'll be on the road for some time. The Korea Expressway Corporation gave us some numbers, as in what to expect when you hit major expressways in and out of Seoul. Brace yourself for a 6-hour journey if you're driving from Seoul to Busan. It'll take 4 hours and 50 minutes to get to Gwangju from Seoul. If you're leaving the capital for Mokpo, hope you find ways to enjoy your 5-hour road trip. Departing from Seoul and bound for Daegu, that's 5 hours and 10 minutes for you. Seoulites headed for Gangneung are in luck. Relatively shorter trip for you. You may need to be on the road for 3 hours and 50 minutes. Similar conditions are estimated for most Seoul-bound expressways. Moving on to other stories, millions across the nation are observing and celebrating the Lunar New Year holiday in Korea. And for Korea's peacekeeping troops overseas, it's just another day at the office. But they do try to make time to keep the traditions and the spirit of this holiday alive far from home. Our Kim Young-gil tells us how the troops are spending this holiday abroad.
Korea's ARC unit troops are performing special military operations in the Middle East, parachuting out of an airplane onto hot sandy dunes far below. They were first dispatched to the United Arab Emirates in 2010 to hold combined warfare drills with UAE troops. They have since helped to enhance cooperation and bilateral relations between the two countries. Another peacekeeping force, the Cheonghae unit, is fighting pirates off the waters of Somalia and performing drills across the Gulf of Aden. They may be on guard, but it is their Lunar New Year for them as well. During their downtime, these homesick soldiers gather on the ship's deck to play Yunori, a traditional Korean New Year's game. Over in South Sudan, Korea's Hanbit troops are reconstructing buildings as part of humanitarian aid. For the holiday, they're teaching locals taekwondo and providing basic medical services. The Dongmyeong unit stationed in Lebanon is performing a ritual chade ceremony to pay respects to their ancestors. A son and his father, both dispatched to this unit, are fortunate to be together, but still miss their family back in Korea.
Mom, I'm doing well with Father here. Wish you the best in the new year. I love you.
As the nation happily celebrates the new year, it should be remembered that Korea's peacekeeping forces are working far from home to ensure peace and safety for future holidays to come. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
Still on the subject of Lunar New Year holidays, this day is being celebrated in many countries across Asia. Here in Korea, we call it Seol or Seollal. In China, it's referred to as Chinese New Year or Spring Festival. One thing we have in common is that it's all about family get-togethers. For the many Chinese families living in Korea, some of the traditions followed on this holiday are very similar, but not all. Our Kim Yeon-bin has this report.
Lunar New Year, or Seollal as it's known in Korea, is a time when many Korean families head back to their hometowns to spend some quality time with their relatives. Koreans eat a bowl of rice cake soup to mark the fact they are turning 1 year older, and they pay respect to their elders and ancestors by holding rituals. The festive period is not only celebrated in Korea. Chinese people also mark the turning of the lunar calendar.
The Chinese and Korean Lunar New Year holidays are very similar. It's the time of the year when families get together. My brothers from Shanghai and Suwon are coming to see me.
It is estimated that during the 40-day travel period in China, there will be around 2.8 billion trips taken by cars, buses, trains, and planes as people head back to their hometowns. Seems pretty similar so far, right? Well, there are some differences between Korea and China, most notably in terms of what people eat, to try and ensure they have some good luck in the months ahead.
Koreans eat rice cake soup, dokguk, for Lunar New Year, but Chinese eat dumplings. They eat dumplings that are the same shape as traditional gold called wonbo. Eating dumplings is believed to bring prosperity and health to your family.
While most Korean families should get to see each other over the holiday period, many Chinese people living in Korea will have to make do with a phone call to their relatives back home.
My parents are in China. My siblings and I are here to make money. One of my sisters is taking care of my parents as their health is fading. She will celebrate with them. We are in Korea to make money to send back to China.
Lunar New Year, whether it'll be Korea or China, is a time for family and togetherness. So if you are fortunate enough to have time with your loved ones, spare a thought for those who are not so lucky. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Shifting gears now, Korea's new Prime Minister Lee Wan-gu paid a courtesy call to Lee Hee-ho, the widow of former President Kim Dae-jung and former President Chun Doo-hwan as well. During his meeting with the former First Lady, the Prime Minister pledged to work for the people and put all his efforts into helping the Park Geun-hye administration revitalize inter-Korean ties. He also held talks with former President Chun Doo-hwan to seek support and advice about managing state affairs. The Prime Minister is set to bear the weight of his new post as he prepares for an upcoming government questioning session scheduled for next week. The inter-Korean mood is drastically different on this Lunar New Year holiday compared to the start of 2015. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un voiced angry remarks on this Thursday over comments made by South Korean President Park Geun-hye earlier this week. She suggested the regime get with the times and not ignore the winds of change. Kim used harsh words to criticize President Park and said her comments reflect Seoul's lack of commitment to holding talks and mending ties. Meanwhile, the South's Unification Minister Ryu Gil-jae emphasized the urgency of holding reunions for war-separated families and repatriating detained South Korean citizens and prisoners of war. The minister added that Pyongyang must return to dialogue and address these issues as time is rapidly running out for these people. Most of them are in their twilight years. North Korea conducted the first flight test of a new submarine-launched ballistic missile, or SLBM, last month. U.S. defense officials and the Washington Free Beacon confirmed on Wednesday the flight test of what the Pentagon is calling the KN-11 missile. It was reportedly held on January 23rd from a sea-based platform off the coast of North Korea. U.S. intelligence monitored the test and tracked the successful missile firing. It's being viewed as a significant step forward for Pyongyang's SLBM program. Some analysts believe it will be developed as a delivery system for Pyongyang's nuclear arsenal and would be a more difficult target for U.S. regional deterrence and missile defenses. U.S. President Barack Obama is drawing a line between terrorism and religion. Speaking to representatives of some 60 nations, Obama rejected the premise that groups like Islamic State represent the Muslim faith. Our Hwang Ji-hye has this report.
U.S. President Barack Obama tried to draw a clear line between religion and terrorism when he spoke to representatives from 60 countries at a three-day event on extremism Wednesday. He said that the United States is not at war with Islam, but at war with people who have perverted Islam, rejecting the notion that groups like Islamic State are operating from a religious foundation. Obama drove the point that Islam had been corrupted and twisted by terrorist groups.
They propagate the notion that America, and the West generally, is at war with Islam. That's how they recruit. That's how they try to radicalize young people. The president said the global community should work together to stop the group's recruiting efforts, warning that they often lure society's poor or uneducated. The meeting held at the White House comes amid a recent wave of terrorist attacks, including shootings in France, Denmark, and Canada. Terror groups have been growing their online and social media presence at a fast pace in recent months, while the Islamic State militant group has expanded its recruitment efforts to include citizens from America and abroad. Hwang Ji-hye, Arirang News.
Let's move over to Ukraine now. After defending his decision to pull government troops out of Debaltseve as a strategic move, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko is turning to the UN and the EU to help monitor the ceasefire. Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council approved Poroshenko's request in an emergency meeting on Wednesday, clearly indicating Kiev's concern over losing the strategic railway junction to pro-Russian separatists. The rebels denounced the Ukrainian leader's call for deployment of UN peacekeepers, adding such a move would violate the Minsk agreements reached on Sunday after marathon talks by France, Germany, Russia, and Ukraine. The United States and Iran will resume talks on Tehran's disputed nuclear program in Geneva on Friday. According to Iran's IRNA state news, the talks will be aimed at ending a 12-year standoff with 6 major powers. The country's top nuclear official said deputy foreign ministers from both sides will meet for talks through Saturday before Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry joined the discussions on Sunday and Monday. Negotiations fell through last November after the involved parties failed to reach an agreement that would curb Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. Despite Tehran's denials of nuclear ambitions, world powers fear it could develop a nuclear bomb. Into the tech realm now, Samsung Electronics has purchased U.S. mobile startup LoopPay, paving the way for the Korean tech giant to get into the mobile wallets game. Samsung said Wednesday that the acquisition will help the company build its own payment service. Still, their next goal would be inevitably to lead the world mobile commerce market. LoopPay holds patent rights related to magnetic secure transmission. Its wireless technology stores data that can be transmitted to existing tap-to-pay terminals, widely used by retailers across the U.S. The move by Samsung solidifies earlier rumors of a possible project with LoopPay that will result in a competitive alternative to Apple Pay and Google Wallet's mobile payment systems. Moving on to weather, warmer weather free of rain awaits those looking to spend some time outdoors on Friday in Korea. Temperatures will hover above 0 in the morning, but the mercury will gradually climb up to 9 in the capital. For those who will be behind the wheel early tomorrow, do be careful as some haze is expected. Let's check out the weather conditions outside of Korea around the world. That does it for us. Thank you for watching. To those of you who are celebrating the Lunar New Year holidays, to our Chinese viewers, I say Gongxi Fa Cai. To our Korean viewers, 새해 복 많이 받으세요. Thank you for watching. This has been Daniel Che.